Let me just show the dynamic of a turn. We're going to start off with the Pandya. They are the first of the races, whatever cultures is probably more accurate, to go. So the first thing they do is they counter population expansion, and they have 1.5. Remember, mountains are only half. This gets moved here. Once it hits 3, they get their bonus. Oh yeah, here we are in Maharaja. This is the first turn. So then I look at their card. And I say, the next time they get I don't know who Raja is, but that's some leader that I have to kill. And that could happen at any time in the game, but he's only going to be on for like 1 turn. Okay, so my goals on turn 4 and 7 are Karnataka, Mysore, Kerala, Malabar. Those are the only places that I'm interested in with the Pandyas. Now, Karnataka, Mysore, Kerala, Malabar. I want this. I don't want to be up here, and I sure don't want to be out here in the open with these Marians coming in. So I'm going to drop back into the hills where I'm more defensive. That's just to show you very briefly what a very simple turn is. That's it. That's all you do. Now, it might show you a combat later, but in general, I'm going to come in at the end of a turn. So we're going to see some battle. Now, this is kind of interesting. The Marians do not go last out of the early starters. The Harappans go after them. That means the Harappans are stuck in this spread out position, which is actually the same as Britannia. The Romans come in before. So we've seen the Chola pull back because they actually want the same stuff. They want, Mysore and Karnataka primarily. So the Chola and the Pandya are heading in the same direction, south. Now, let's look at what's happening to these poor spread out Harappans. First of all, the Marians have a major invasion. And that's listed on the turn. You want to kind of keep track of what's coming in the upcoming turns, not just on your cards, but on other people's. The notes are placed here, but it's hard to know these things without having played it a lot of times, or without just zoning out on this turn record chart, which is, about as much fun as reading all of the events in a CDG. However, here I find it less annoying to know in advance what's going to happen. The game is just really, it's hard to play without knowing. And somehow it doesn't bother me as much. Okay. So what do we have? Well, we have a major invasion. That means, and this is pretty common for the system, the Marians are going to get to move once, do battle, and move again and do another battle. Another set of battles. They get 2 complete turns. They don't get any population increase at all during that time. Okay. I'll probably jump in the first battle just to show you the mechanics, but it's really trivial. So here's where the Marians advanced on their first turn. Now they're able to move into here and through oh, they can't go 3 areas. They don't have a leader. What's with that crap? Okay. So they can't go any further. Sorry about that. This is really almost forced on them. I guess they could do this, which they would rather do. Or even better. Yeah, this. That doesn't allow retreats as nicely. I like this better. Their goal, see, is to get to Orissa and Magadha and Bihar. They want to reach this zone here. That's where their victory points are going to be on turn 4. But they should be able to do that pretty easily as long as no one jumps in their way. We are going to see some Greeks come in on turn 4, but that's over in Afghanistan. Probably not where the Marians want to score points. And that's about it. So, oh wait, we got some Sinhalese down in Laka. That should be pretty safe. That's down here. So I would say the Marians are going to be able to grab whatever they like. Nothing's going to stop them. So let's look at what they're doing here. Well, they needed to move 2 in here in order to get anybody 2 here. Now they could have split up like this but then they're at even odds, and that's a disadvantage. Well, it's no advantage. So let's do a combat, and then I'll show you what happened afterwards. But here we have 2 Marians against 1 Harappan. So I'll roll 2 white dice for the attacker, and throw a die on the ground for the defender. And I'm looking for 5s and 6s. I did not get any. The defender chooses to drop back and retreat. He doesn't want to fight at those bad odds. I'll fight out the rest of the battles. So this is the layout after the first turn, and I looked up the rules. The Harappans get points for killing Marians, even on the Marian turn. That's a little different from Britannia. That's the general rule in this game. You get points no matter when you kill things. So the Marians have expanded. Now they get a second move. They really want to try to wipe out the Harappans. That's their goal here. So how do I do that? Well, I want to improve my odds now. I have stacking limits I have to worry about. I'm only allowed how many pieces in an area? Got this overpopulation issue. This is something that was missing in Italia. I need to have 2 counters. I cannot have more than 2 counters per area I own. That's a rule at the end of my turn. But what about stacking during combat? Unfortunately, stacking. Strictly limited. It's normally no more than 3 in non-hill land, 2 in hill land, but you can have 1 special group that's unlimited size or up to 4 in a hill land. Unlimited on a non-hill land, up to 4 in a hill land. I'm going to move like this. Now notice, the Marians did not get an increased population. And now I roll the attack dice again, and here I'll be rolling 4 against 2. You'll notice in some places the Harappans retreated, like at the beginning of the battle that we showed. We also saw a condition where the Marians retreated. This is an option that both players have. Alright, I'll finish up the turn and come back. Okay, well, it's the Harappans' turn. I kind of lied, I'm coming back. We have the Marians, they've spread out where they can. They have just met their overpopulation so they don't lose any counters. We go to the Harappans. Now they have 2 victory points built up, or no, 4 victory points built up for killing Marians. Their goals are to be in Gujarat, which is where they are. They want to be there. Or each other area in North India or the Himalayas. North India is here, Himalayas are up here. They can't quite reach the Himalayas. And they're going to get overrun if they stay there. They don't know whether or not they'll survive here. They're going to be real dicks. And they're going to jump into here. I like this move because it gives them a mountain. Actually, I think they'll go for this one. This would have been the dickier place, but this is the more valuable for them. And we'll roll an attack. Now here they need 6s, and the defender needs 5s or 6s. Each side got a hit, so the Marians and the Pandyas each lose a counter now. But the Marians get to survive. Oh, they were in Gujarat, so they got 1 production. That's the end of the turn. I'm going to mark down 4 victory points for the Harappans, and then we go on to turn 2. So now I've moved everyone except the Harappans for the second turn. The Marians have spread out. They got some additional forces up in Central Asia. They got 5 points, which gives them an army and 2 points. And they moved over here. Now they have 9 or more areas, so they get the Raja point. That means that they'll get a victory point. If they only have 15 areas, if they had 18, they could have gotten the next level up, which is the Maharaja. And then there's higher levels above that. They can count their own points, and they can count areas that they control, and they can count areas that submitted nations control. Unfortunately, the Harappans are unable to submit to anyone. There's a limit as to which countries can submit, which countries cannot. It's a small group that can. It's also a small group that's allowed to count Raj points. So the Marians get a victory point, and I'm checking. So after finishing 3 turns, we go into the 4th turn. This is going to be a victory point turn. Key, whatever. What happened? Well, there was a little bit of fighting between the Chola and the Pandya. If the Pandya lost, they'd be out of the game. But the Chola lost and were forced back. Now the Chola could have set up so that they had all 3 of these valuable areas. As it is now, the Pandya are going to get an extra guy and might be able to get Carnatic. Then after that, we moved the Marians, and they spread out massively across the north, enough to get the Maharaja point, and those points have been added. Now they're at 3. However, they lost a unit trying to wipe out the Harappans, and that gives blue 2 extra points, bringing them to 6. So that's where we're at, 6-3 to 2 zeros, and now we enter turn 4, where we're going to get the Greeks with Alexander the Great, Ashoka as a Marian leader, some Sinhalese in Lanka, and then the Greeks will lose some. The Greeks get victory points at their own turn, and then they also get them at the end of the whole turn. After their own turn, they lose Alexander and a couple of armies. So then only a couple of Greeks will be perhaps left as the colony. Alright, we'll do that, and then probably wrap this one and send it up. So after the Pandya move down and grab, what is this, Carnatic, the Greeks come in. This is not a major invasion, it's just an invasion out of Afghanistan. They attacked and took all the Marian territories. You'll notice Alexander, he's a leader. He gives +1 to the die roll in combat, among other things. The movement advantages. I didn't explain the combat advantage. Same as Britannia. We had a trade-off. Both sides lost. So, lost a unit. He only had 1 unit in there. But he still controls the space, and that's one of the bonuses. He controls the space unless he's killed. He's killed if he's left alone with an enemy unit. Now, at the end of the turn, he collects points for each of these 4 areas at the end of the player turn, and then he removes 2 counters, 2 armies, and himself off the board. So the Greeks picked up 4 points. They'll get more points at the end of the scoring round, but they just get points for occupying those areas. So the Marians once again spread out. They grabbed as many territories as they possibly physically could, actually. They made a one-on-one attack against the Greeks and won there. They spread out here. They might, could they have gotten another one? They could have conceivably had another guy make a one-on-one attack in the mountains or some such, and left Ashoka just to grab Bijapur on his own. That's a really dumb move. That would have been the only way they could have gotten 1 more space. Had they done that and succeeded, they would have gotten 1 more point. They got Maharaja. They would have been able to get Diharaja or whatever. Thus, they will also, and I added that. I did not. Yeah, I added the 2 points, so they're at 5 now, and they'll be getting more points, a lot more points at the end of the turn. But we have the Harappans and the Sinhalese. Well, the Harappans made an attack into Gujarat because the only thing they could get was killing Marian armies, and Gujarat's worth 2. Everything else has to be North India or the Himalayas. That's that side. They weren't going to collect any victory points. However, they killed themselves off and wiped out the Marians. They get 2 points for the Marians, and I've marked that already. They're up to 8. But now blue has nothing on the board. This race is gone. It's what we call a bag race. Now I'm going to score victory points. I'll come back and then I'll wrap. So, scoring the end of turn points. Start with green. Pandyas and the Greeks managed a total of 6 points. That puts them up to 10. The Harappans don't exist anymore, so they stay at 8. There's nothing else. Blue, yellow, pulled a big 31 points. Almost all from the Marians. Ooh, did I give them this? Yeah, I did. I don't know why I keep that there. Almost all from the Marians. However, the Sinhalese pulled in 3 of those points down here. And then purple, the Cholas grabbed 2 points. These were two of their less valuable territories. So that's our net. 36 points for yellow, and the next person down is 10 for green. Doesn't feel like a close game, but truth of the matter is, points are usually loaded unevenly. So it's really hard to tell at this point. Is yellow winning? They look like they're doing pretty damn well. They've knocked out blue. But green and purple don't look like they're in bad shape. So there's no real reason for me at this point to say, yellow's winning. I actually think they made a mistake and lost a couple of points because of it. So it's hard to tell. These games are always like this. Until you're familiar with the flow of a particular game and a particular number of players, you don't know what the values are. All right.